I hate the word we start our podcast. It's always the same. Like, is
And
it
we're
on?
live.
Is it not on? We're live.
Yeah, we're live now.
Well, if you're expecting a ukulele, not today. My dad's asleep behind me, so
just sing it. Just sing it quietly.
welcome to Get Good.
Yeah.
So,
It's just a whisper.
Welcome everyone. Yeah, this is a very special episode. It's our first proper guest. We got Kit, who's working industry now as a vehicle and weapon artist. Is that right?
No, well, I'm an environment artist, but I've moved towards
Okay.
vehicles and weapons just to get the project finished. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and we're gonna just pick his brain for about an hour.
Yeah, do you want to tell us what studio you're at and a little bit about that, a little bit about Dan Boston?
Alright, I'm at Dambusters. It used to be Crytek. Some troubles happened last year, and Deep Silver bought it and turned it. And I kind of basically wanted to get the game that they had been developing for the past 5 years actually out the door. So they bought the studio.
Cool.
It's like 150 people. It's a kind of AAA studio, but it's not like massive and like Ubisoft like or EA like where you don't know half the people. But yeah, we're making Homefront 2, which is kind of been announced for a couple of years now. It's definitely interesting world-wise. I really like the world, but we'll see what happens with the actual game.
Yeah, I got to play it at Gamescom. It was really cool.
Yeah.
They had all these like guards dressed up coming around and shouting at you in German. So.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing all the pictures.
Yeah.
Because the community manager guy went over there. That's not good. Yeah, he went over and they came back with loads of pictures of people dressed up as the KPA, and we all wanted the weapons that they made. We wanted them to come back to the UK, but I think they're stuck somewhere.
Did you not get them? Oh.
I really wanted one.
looking off them at the airport.
What is this? It's a fake weapon from a game. And we're professionals.
Do you ever get to like look at any weapons and stuff? I know that people who like work at DICE for like Battlefield will actually have like replicas and stuff that they get to like work with when they're modeling them and stuff. Is there anything you gotta do?
Well, I just made something at work, and rather than having a real thing in front of me, I had the concept and about 100 images of the gun. So ref is key, but having a physical one would be cool. I don't think it's needed though. I think you can do it without it.
It's just an excuse to hold some cool guns, I guess.
It's also probably like DICE probably made a video out of it.
Probably.
They would have got some nice marketing from that. So that's the way that works.
Fell for those marketing schemes.
But also, you do get a lot of info from a physical object. So, especially with weapons and hard surface stuff, the way something is machined, like you can get a lot of information about how it was made from just being able to look at it yourself. Like, if you take a Desert Eagle as an example, the way this curve here is formed, that bit there, is a really interesting shape because it's when you look at it and you think, oh, how did they make that? And how would the edges be created in the real world? So how tight do my edges need to be and all that kind of stuff. Those ultra fine details that no one but the artist notice. They're important, and you can get information from the actual physical thing, but pictures are just as good.
Yeah, I know it. Like, it's cool when you have like physical things in front of you. Like when I'm in the office and they want me to texture something, and sometimes they'll give me like the swatches of like the cloth that they want me to put on for a car. That is so fun to be able to like see it in real life. It's really good, really cool.
I still feel like probably not properly introduced yet. Do you want to talk about your portfolio and your FMP maybe a little bit, just in case
Oh,
any
yeah.
second
You
years?
don't have
Or...
to.
You don't have to if you don't want to. But...
All right.
That's how we normally start the episode.
Yeah, when there's a new person on.
Are you not a fan of the FMP anymore? Though it's really good.
Nah, well, I'm a fan of the fact that it was in VR,
Yeah,
and I'm a fan of the sofa.
that was a
The
really nice.
sofa was really nice.
That was a
Nice
nice
sofa.
sofa.
That was the other thing I remember seeing on the videos. Like, man, that is a good sofa.
I can show you a better version of the sofa.
I remember the big debate for the colour. I remember being Team Cream.
There's no green there. It's blue, beige, and brown.
Oh, man, I think I must have been in a solo team. I can't remember. It was just me on my own who was Team Cream. It wasn't even an option.
Like, you should change it. But yeah, okay. So when I was at uni, between my second and third year, I went to Ubisoft Montpellier to work as a marketing artist. So I did basically in-game photography for the DLC for Assassin's Creed, which was quite cool. But while I was there, I had a lot of panicky kind of I'm not getting better every day, so I would work in the evenings till quite late, and push myself quite hard because I felt like I wasn't actually like learning a huge amount while I was there. I was, but it just wasn't 3D relevant stuff. So yeah, after that, I got back to uni, and I'm obsessed with VR, so I made a sci-fi walkway, which is awful now that I look at it, but I learned things about VR, Unreal, and Substance Painter, so...
Is this the thing with the marmoset view, I think?
No. No, this is just a walkway, this is just...
I'm watching the stream and it's a minute behind.
Pardon?
I'm watching the stream and it's a minute behind, so I don't know what you were talking about. It's just
How come you're not, like, watching the Hangout?
Yeah, just getting the call.
I don't know.
Because, like, 1 minute delay to conversation.
Yeah. Alright, no, this makes sense now. I know exactly.
I'm amazed that you've lasted this long, John. I don't know how. Have you been saying like a minute in advance, like, oh, I think I'll be talking about this? Ask that question.
It's just very good guesses.
Fair enough. So yeah, that was just a short project over Christmas, and then I started working with Elliot on our FMP, which was ambitious to say the least. But I think we both got out of it what we wanted to, and we did cool things. But it's one of those things when you finish something like that, where you spend 3 months or something working on it, and it changes loads. And one of the biggest mistakes I made was not having an actual concept to work from. I wanted to make my own world. I wanted to, which, it was a nice idea, but I don't think it was the best use of my time. But yeah, so I made this kind of abandoned / slum city set in an England area by the coast. But it was the main thing for me was that it was going to be running in VR, and it was going to be super modular, and just use the assets to make anything you wanted. There was not going to be too many hero assets. It was more going to be solid, continuous assets, like lots of different things, which gave me a bit of an insight into like environment work. But since coming to Dambusters, a lot of that has changed. So.
Do you work very differently in industry to how you work in labs?
In labs,
like you were saying how you did everything modular. Is that not? Do you approach it differently now that you're in industry? Is that not how they do things, or?
Well, no, yeah, everything's still built in that way. It's just more refined, different tools, different pipelines. It was just kind of. This was definitely someone who had been at uni for a couple of years and thought they understood it.
Yeah.
And I did to a certain extent, but not fully.
Tip of the iceberg kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot wrong, but it it did the job, and I was at uni, and it kind of got me a job. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
served the purpose. And this is probably the thing that I'm most proud of, which I did in my free time, just
Yeah.
in evenings and weekends.
So did you do this during FMP?
Yeah, I blocked it out in January time because a friend from France, when I was at uni, he wanted to make a short film. He
Mm.
wanted this shot of the ISS Capella looking down on planet Earth. He wanted some 3D stuff. Initially, he just wanted me to like make a super simple version of it,
Mm.
and I just realized that it was a chance for me to really hone in on details and make something cool, basically. Um, so I went full on with it, um, and hanging out with Rich Carey quite a lot. Learned a lot about baking during that process, which is probably something that I would recommend anyone who wants to go into realism to realize about this industry, is we're kind of craftspeople. So craftspeople don't just want to get the end result and ignore the process. You need to know how you get there. You need to know the technical, just not because you find it necessarily super interesting. I personally do, but if you want an end result, you kind of want to be efficient. You want to know what's happening and understand it. And so the technical stuff is kind of important still, whether or not you enjoy it. Um, you know, and you can enjoy it because I don't know, it's not horrible, it's not scary. It's kind of important to the job. It's half of it, basically.
So tell us a little bit about kind of going from FMP to the job. How did that go down? Was it at the degree show? Was there?
So I applied for a job there in what, January, and they said maybe not now, but we'll keep you on record.
Is this CAN bosses who said this?
Yeah. So I was applying for jobs from about January, February, right the way through to the end of kind of June, I think.
And is that something you recommend starting, as early as you can with the job hunt?
I would definitely recommend making sure you have your portfolio set up, even if it's with awful work that you'll never want to actually show anyone. Have that set up as soon as you possibly can. So I had one in second year, which had my transit van in it. Like stuff like that. What that allowed me to do is not have that precious mentality of, well, I'll make a portfolio and I have the right stuff to put in it, because you'll never be at that point. Like, you're an artist, you're someone who thinks critically about everything you do, so you're never going to be at that point where you're like, yeah, I'm super happy with this, I want to show everyone. You're always going to be a bit kind of, well, it's not really good enough. So if you start early and you go, well, I've got a portfolio of stuff that I've got, I can show it to people and get crit on that, and kind of as soon as you can, then from there you can improve it and just swap things out.
So you applied in January?
Oh yeah, back to that. I applied in January and they said, oh, we'll keep you on record. And then another position came up in like mid-June time, and I went for the interview and kind of, well, because they just messaged me saying, could you come in for an interview, you've got another position that you might be interested in. So yeah, I think one of the things I learned from that is if they say we're going to keep you on record, don't ignore that and don't think that's a waste of your time. Make sure you're happy and pleasant with the people, and basically say, yeah, cool, okay, excellent. And you never know, you might hear something in a few weeks, because they're not going to be trying to not hurt your feelings by doing that. They actually mean they're going to keep you on record. Like,
you make it sound so simple. Just applied for a job and got it. I don't know why over the 3 years on this course it always just makes out it's just
super hard. And
well,
I'll never get a job.
There was a lot of work involved.
Oh, obviously.
To get to the point where they said we want to interview you. But yeah, no, it was cool. And I graduated and started work the next day, which was quite
Ah,
great.
no way. So were you? I mean, obviously you were really happy when you got the job. I'm guessing. Like, what was that like graduating already with the job? I mean, that was a huge relief. I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. Because I was in that same worried position that you were just talking about, that
Yeah.
I just wasted 3 years of my life and a lot of my free time and social life to do something that I really loved but wasn't able to do.
Yeah.
But it turned out that I could do it. Uh, and so that was this nice feeling of, okay, cool, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to be able to pay the bills. Um,
That must be a good feeling as well, doing something that you love for 3 years at uni, and now you're paying the bills with it, paying the rent.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very lucky. There have been more and more moments, like through from first year all the way till now, where I just kind of have a second where I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I think having worked really bad jobs helps with that, but it's not a requirement. Like just
Yeah.
being able to realize what you're doing sometimes, because yeah, if you think about it, what we do is awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is.
Is there anything that you've got to do? Like, I know that I have a huge list of games I want to play and game consoles I want to buy, things that I want to do now, but I'm kind of putting off till after uni because I don't want to get distracted. Is there anything that you've just been able to do after uni that you've just been waiting to do for ages?
Um, so from a very young age, I played competitive style shooters quite a bit. Not very well, and not online and with people, but just I played them. So
Yeah.
I was really into Quake and really into Counter Strike.
Yeah.
And I used to play. There you go. There you go. Sorry, I just. So I was in Painter and I needed a subway and I was hanging out with people. So that happened. But yeah, so when I got the job, like in the first couple of weeks, I met people at work, and then we played games, and I just went to work, came home, and played games all evening and a weekend and stuff, and that was really nice because I was playing Dirty Bomb quite a bit, and I played Go, but I don't like Go anymore. I don't like Counter Strike Go at all.
Best part must be that you get to do it all guilt free as well and not feel like you should be doing.
Guilt free is a personal thing, I think. I was still feeling quite guilty about doing it,
Yeah. Just
but at
have
the
it up.
same time, I could tell myself to shut up and
Yeah.
just enjoy it. Um, but yeah, I kind of enjoy making stuff, so I'm back on the personal work quite quickly. But yeah,
We got a question in chat from Callum who says, "Did you have any problems going from working potentially 10 or 12 hours a day in labs to fitting everything into 8 hours at a real job?"
no, because labs is probably the worst working environment,
Yeah.
apart from perhaps um, like around people who don't want to work. But yeah, labs was pretty. So in second year, I really liked it. We had quite a small group of people who were always in, and when we were working on our group project near the end of the year, it was good, but we didn't get much done, quite simply. And then I went to France to start working with UB and stuff, and that was my first real experience of an actual office job. And you'd be surprised how much work you actually get done. Like you sit down at your desk and you put your headphones on and you actually just work, and then
Yeah.
like you're not going to Tesco's to get a cheeky drink every now and then, and you're not standing up to watch the new Star Wars trailer, and you're not chatting about random bollocks, and you're not getting involved in the game art drama. So, I tried to do that when I came back for third year, but it meant that I kind of isolated myself in a corner, and I wasn't very good at it, so I ended up still mucking about and enjoying being at uni. But yeah, when you're in an office job and you're working kind of 8 hours a day, you get given your task and you do it. You take a break every now and then. You don't have to get super stressed about it, but you know,
You don't miss
the job.
you don't miss the random bullshit or the Tesco drinks or anything. You don't miss.
I kind of do miss the silly friend silliness and staying in labs till 9 because you can and just chilling out and stuff. That was fun, but like bearing in mind it's a job, I'm not expecting that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's definitely a very different experience because you're actually working. You're not a uni student who, whether or not you're working really hard at uni, you're still you don't have quite the right picture of what it's like to be in a job. Because everyone around you has their own schedule at uni. Like you all have your own shift schedule. Everyone does what they want when they want, basically. But when you're at work, everyone gets in at kind of 9 or earlier, and they have stuff to do, and they don't have the time to just like kind of sit down and chat about something completely random for an hour. You can chat for about like 10-15 minutes. It's not like super rigid, but you know, there's still a work ethic, and at uni there's not really. There is a work ethic, but it's people trying to emulate what maybe they haven't seen before, which is
Just a quick one. It's a little bit irrelevant, but Ewan's asked or demanded, should I say,
of course he demanded
a copy of the legendary normals presentation.
A copy of that. It's an awful presentation. You should just got home with PDF.
I swear that's been given out like 100 times. every week it's like,
I still have like people in labs. I think Mark the other day was doing a bit of baking, and he was like oh, what did Kit say in that presentation? Oh, people still talk about that presentation. It's like Mike Picton videos. They never stop being relevant.
Didn't we already?
I find that crazy because they came out of that just going, oh, that was awful. No, that was awful. No. Yeah, so I would very much recommend looking at this instead, because Scott Homer being Scott Homer, he does a lot of awesome stuff in this PDF. Explains a lot of very good things. For example, this is a prime example right there. Yeah, this kind of stuff about the way to split UVs and smoothing groups. He explains it better than I could. So if you can Google Scott Homer baking tutorial, you'll find it. But if you want, I can give you the link for this folder.
Yeah,
I'll put that on the group later.
Cool. I'll put that in the chat.
So we're all, I think we're the end of the second project of the 3, and then FMP in Lumen. It's like around Christmas.
Yeah.
Any advice going into FMP? You know, things you wouldn't do again, or things that worked well?
I think one of the things I would recommend is trying to work out what you want to achieve. And I think some of the advice that I'd give won't be listened to for one very good reason, which I also used as my reason, which is this is the last time I'm going to get to spend 3 months doing something that I really want to do. And I want to do something a bit more than just copying a concept. However, I would say probably the most successful way of doing a final major project is getting a one-shot concept and working on that. If you're working on environment art, this is working on the atmosphere and mood of that, getting really nice lighting in there, and then just spending time on learning the technical approach to get your art looking as good as it can. So rather than worrying about building a world or telling your own story, find someone else's story to tell. You know, just kind of refine what you're going to get from the experience. I think what I did was I I had loads of concepts I had done when I was in France and loads of ideas that I wanted to portray, and I had this kind of big vision. And I said, well, I really want to do it because it's my last chance to do it. But I don't think that left me in the best way it could have done. I think I could have done a lot better had I found a really nice concept or a really nice photo and recreated that
Yeah.
as best as I could, because that's what I'm doing now. Basically, is I'm recreating concepts. I think that's what you do at work.
And
You
you
get a
worked in
concept from a concept artist and you make it.
you worked in a pair for FMP. Is that something you recommend, like group work or?
Oh, that's completely personal. That's individual basis completely. It works really well for me because me and Elliot like kind of knew each other well enough and could shout at each other to get their ass into uni, or this needs to look better if we needed to. But we both trust each other that it was fine. Um, it's completely dependent on you. I think that's the problem.
Had you both worked together before?
Yeah, we worked on the group project in second year off map stuff. So we worked on that stuff together, and we worked really well together because we both had that technical mindset.
Yeah.
To form the basis of what we wanted to do. So we already knew each other a bit, which helped.
Did you sort of set out together what you wanted to learn from the project, or was it like you both had your own distinct goals and you thought, oh well, this project we can sort of marry up those two ideas? Or
I'm not sure from his perspective how it went, but from what I remember, basically, maybe I have some of this stuff here. I was in France and we were talking about what we might do for FMPs, because we've been talking about that since we were doing our group project. We've been talking about what we might want to do, how we might want to do it. I had come up with loads of different ideas throughout the time, from like a gallery where you could go inside the paintings. Like that was something that I really wanted to do. So you walked into the gallery with a headset on in VR, and it was just laid out like National Portrait Gallery or something, or the National Gallery, probably better. And come up to a Turner painting, and then you can actually go inside that painting.
oh, cool.
Oh wow.
That was an idea that I had, which I really wanted to do, but the more I thought about it and the more I tried to do it with a really, really bad environment, that I'm so happy I stopped doing, which I'll bring up because no one should be ashamed of doing bad work. Everyone does bad work. Basically, because of like talking about all that stuff with Elliot, we ended up talking about an idea that we had together, which was this. Where's it gone? One second. So yeah, like he showed me a picture of the building inside a rock, and we were like, that looks awesome. And I'll try and find it at some point. Oh yeah, Author Engine.
Man, that classic blogger layout. So nostalgic.
Hell yeah. Almost there. Okay, so yeah. Where's it gone? So yeah, I started working on this, this is Turner's painting. And I tried to block it out and actually start making the level. It didn't work out particularly well, but I started working on it as an idea when I was in France, and because of that already discussion about FMP with Elliot, we moved on to talking about what we could do, and we had ideas that matched up in some way. And then Elliot's more like tech arty side, he started imagining how he could create this slum building like down here in that area. And we started talking about maybe we could put something on a grid so you could just like swap walls out. And I just started, like just because of that, we random talking, and just working out how to swap different walls out to use different things, and what variations we could do. And because of all that, we just went, we should just do it together. And then eventually, our roles became massively divided, and we just did 2 separate FMPs that were working in conjunction with each other.
Okay.
I think the main lesson from that was just talking to each other, being completely honest and open, and not one person not wanting to do it and pushing it on the other.
It did seem like a really interesting combination how your FMP worked, because he was like making the tools to make your job as an environment artist easier, I believe. Is that how it went down?
Yeah, which is a tech artist job.
Tech artist job, basically. Yeah, but it's just it was interesting.
Yeah, it was cool.
I got to listen in to a lot of technical conversations all year, because I was sat on the edge.
I guess a lot of me going, yeah, we should do this, and he's like, no.
It was
no,
a lot of you coming in. You'd come in and say, oh man, I was up till 4 AM last night, and I swear you said it every day. And I was thinking, how is he doing that? All the late nights.
Someone brought that up the other day on Facebook, and during that time I was kind of in that ultimate state of flow. Like, I was loving every second of it. I was kind of, and it's not something that I would say is necessarily positive or healthy or something that should be done, but I enjoyed it myself. So don't feel like you need to do that, because it's probably not healthy, and it's definitely not the best way to go about it. But yeah.
It all worked out in the end. I mean, you got a job.
Yeah. How's your stuff going? Have you got lots of discussions about FMPs going on?
Very recently, this week, literally, I was speaking to some peers about FMP, because I really want to work in a group. And a guy called Josh McGahn approached me with like this little book. It was actually quite a funny story. He's got this book, and it's like his holy grail. He's been working on it for 6 months, and it's got this really huge, elaborate idea, like a universe in it. And he just explained it to me, and he was like, I want you to be the environment artist for it. And he approached another guy called Josh, and he goes, I want you to be the character artist for it. And they're kind of in the process of discussing that at the moment. But I really feel like I could go either way. I've been working on my own all year with these projects. I feel like I've been doing okay. I know Ben Mosen did a really good FMP. He worked on himself, so I feel like I could go either way. Not too worried about it. But I'm pretty excited about this idea. I don't want to butcher it and try and pitch it, because I know it's his thing, it's his baby. So I'll let Josh do it on an episode one day.
Fair enough.
It's a cool little idea.
Are you gonna have some discussion about FMP ideas? Because when we were in 3rd year, there was one point where we were told that we would get gripped on our ideas from the lecturers. So we were kind of all getting our ideas together and working up a presentation. I don't know what happened in the end, but we decided, okay, let's just do it to ourselves, do it to each other, like criticize what you're thinking of doing. Bring a short presentation of 3 ideas that you might want to do, and we will rip them to shreds and see how well they fare, basically. And it was a really good way of getting some advice and some secondary feedback, I guess.
I think it's not out. I don't want to say it's too early days, but I think everyone's just a bit up in air. I don't think everyone's decided yet.
Oh yeah,
it's a good idea.
This was in January time. This wasn't anywhere near now. Like, it was.
Did you have FMP presentations for the lecturers anyway, where you pitch your idea? Because I've been told we're having those this year.
I think we did. I think we did. But yeah.
Anyone else in the call got any FMP ideas? I don't think I've really spoke to any of you guys.
I find it really weird for me, because I'm away. Like, really interesting, this question. It's like, I don't know, because I'm seeing all you guys do it and go off, and you're like in there in the labs and stuff, and I'm back, and I'm like, well, do I have an extra year? I'm working here. I've got I'm thinking about it a bit, but it's weird. Like, Kit, when you were in France, because you missed a bit of the year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Were you like thinking about it more, or were you thinking I'll think about it more when I get back, or?
I'm not very good at switching off,
Okay, yeah.
so probably not the best person to ask. Because I have a sketchbook full of doodles and drawings and ideas for the 5 different FMP ideas I had.
Mm.
So yeah, I was always thinking about it. Even for like the behind the door project, which you guys have now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was doing that for my sci-fi corridor, I had like 3 different ideas what I could do for different things, and I was I don't know if it was necessarily a good way of doing it because it was a way that I did it. um, yeah, I was thinking a lot about these things.
Because I've been coming up with like ideas, but I'm like, well, you know, it's like a whole year and a bit away.
I would more focus.
It or not.
Yeah, if I were you, I'd more focus on like just getting better at the stuff you're interested in or learning stuff. Also traveling. You have a chance. You're in Germany. You can get an Interrail ticket and just go. So do that because it will build your library of interesting things.
Cool.
Chris, Mike, any FMP ideas?
I don't know yet.
I might steal them.
I'm thinking it. I'm like, I go to bed and I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get to sleep. I'm like, how would that work? Should it be a
What,
game?
what,
Should it be
what the
just
fuck am I
fun?
gonna do?
That's when I come up with my best ideas, man. Like really
Yeah, I do, but then I'm
weird technical things
Yeah,
as well.
I know I want to do characters, but that's about it.
That's cool. How are you finding the Star Matrix? Because like after talking to people, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, awesome.
It's, yeah,
A lot of freedom. Like
yeah,
there's
a
You do
lot
what you
of-
want.
yeah. Not just freedom in like what you know, if you want to go in environments, there's a freedom of that you can do an environment. I mean like within the actual briefs themselves, you can really go crazy. Like the shop front doesn't really have to be a shop front. The beyond the
Yeah,
Yeah,
wall
it seems
can
like
be anything
they
beyond
rarely
the
say no to like if you want to change something. If you come to one of the tutors and say like, oh, can I do this instead of this bit?
Yeah.
Then
I
normally
know.
they seem to be cool with it.
Josh, who's an aspiring character artist, is doing the stylized shot front and then trying to turn it into a character. He's trying to have like a shot that's on an animal or something. He's
Yeah, that's cool. See,
crazy
that's
with
what I was about to say. Is are you finding that you can get what you want out of it? Because something that you can easily do is just go, well, I want to do this, so I can change the brief. And it sounds like people are doing that, which is always good.
yeah.
Manipulate it for your own purposes.
We can.
There's no side scroller projects which I've heard didn't go down too well. Always a plus. I'm not a big fan of those on Game Up apparently.
Yeah.
I'm lost.
The side scroller projects.
Oh, that, yeah, well,
There's not one of them anymore.
you try something and then you move on from it and you get better things that you guys have now. So
Yeah, I was saying that to Max. He was talking about how he's gutted that we're all doing the Star Matrix, but when he does it next year,
I'm
it's gonna
jealous.
it's gonna be refined next year. It's gonna be even better, Max.
Hope so.
And you'll be really good at skiing by then as well.
Skiing through lamps.
nice.
Apparently, I didn't mind the side scroller project. Rachel just said in chat. I probably heard the worst opinion on it and just assumed that everybody hated it. My apologies.
Yeah, I just stayed out of all of that.
uh,
I wasn't there. I didn't know.
in the corner with your headphones on, just.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just has anything really surprised you about working in the industry? What's like the best thing or the most surprising thing?
I had no idea about weapon art and stuff. And I'm quite a kind of technical and machining type person. Like I go and make stuff when I can. And turns out that knowledge is helpful in weapon art, and I really like doing it. And when I left uni, I was just kind of, I'll try anything and see what happens. I'll end up somewhere. And I really like it, so I'm probably going to try and push myself in weapons vehicles a bit. that was surprising because I wasn't expecting to find something that I was quite hyped about. I was expecting to go in and be doing cool things, but yeah, I was very lucky to be put on that team though, because there's only my lead and me working on it. Um, Other than that, just organisation. People complain about organisation at uni because they will, but it's bad everywhere. Like it's probably the most difficult to get right. So just get used to dealing with it. Um, yeah, there's nothing's really too bad. Um, I really like it.
And how's working on Homefront? Like you said, you're a big fan of that game.
I'm a big fan of the world.
Oh, the world.
Big distinction. I haven't played Homefront 1. I saw the Crytek E3 demo from 2012 where you had like a phone and you're walking through and there was like graffiti on the walls and it was very much.
I remember this. I think Max showed us the trailer when he said he
Yeah.
was going to Dambusters. He was really proud as well. It was funny because I think he'd only just got the job there, but he was like, "Oh guys, look what I'm working on."
When we were in first year, and he was in third year, he repeatedly said that, "Oh, it's fine. I won't apply to jobs. Crytek will just give me a job." Then he's working at that year. So.
How is Max?
He's good.
Is it weird working with him because he's like your lecturer and?
Well, he was my friend, and then he was my lecturer, and now he's my colleague. I think he's a bit hungover at the moment.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook. He had a good time.
Yeah, he did.
Is he still just as silly as he was when he was on the course?
Yeah.
Good to hear. They wanted to sell out. Yeah.
The same person. Every now and then there's a bit more of a professional side to him. But, yeah, that's really nice. The atmosphere is like a more work-orientated version of labs. Like people are chill. You hear people every now and then just like running across the studio going, "What the fuck did you just do?" And it's not super businessy, which is pretty nice. But at the same time, people get stuff done.
Is there anything that we should look out for when we're applying for jobs?
I would just say just apply. Like any experience can be turned into a good one, but that's just my mentality. People don't share it. So, when applying for jobs, main thing, just do it. Don't put writing cover letters off. A lot of people put writing cover letters off, and then the job goes. So just sit down and do it. There's always enough time to write a cover letter and do work. You're gonna get your FMP finished, unless you're a certain kind of individual who struggles with actually like getting that stuff done. But if you're someone who's really kind of okay, well here's the deadline, I need to get it done. Like it's gonna get done. You can spend 15 minutes changing a cover letter you wrote at the very beginning of the FMP for a job that you were never going to get, but thought you should have applied for anyway. That's what I did. I applied for Dambusters, and I was like, I'm never going to get this, but I may as well put my name there. And then, like 3 months later, it worked out. But yeah, I just say apply for jobs. Don't get yourself distracted from it.
Cool.
But yeah, don't get distracted and don't be precious about your portfolio. It's probably the biggest thing.
Any advice for portfolio advice for third years or second years? Anyone?
I don't know. That's more of an individual basis because a lot of people do things differently. So, like, one advice for one person is going to be bad advice for another person. Like, if you say one thing to one person, you say, well, you should really focus a bit more on the technical stuff so that you understand what's happening because you've got the art stuff down. And then someone else hears that, and they're someone who's maybe a bit more like I was, and they kind of focus way too much on the technical stuff, even though the art stuff isn't that great. Like that kind of portfolio feedback is very individual. But
I tend to get caught up on the little things like deciding whether I should do it on Squarespace or Weebly, and I know like long term it's completely just irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
that's probably the worst thing that you could do.
I know it's bad, but I don't know. I just
First,
get the main name, things like that. I'm like, well, if I do this, it might rule me out of doing a job in this. So
just stay simple. Like unless you're a proper character, like having your portfolio as your name.co.uk is not a bad idea. Like, using ArtStation is gonna be helpful because it's really easy to get exposure and it gives you a portfolio already. I don't understand so like, ArtStation is a really powerful tool. By just uploading your work to that, you've already got a portfolio set up for you with a decent domain name, and you can send it to people. No one's going to go, oh, it's not a special website. So
I always just thought of it as an add-on. It's like kind of a company, a portfolio or something. But I know what you mean. It does have that portfolio page and stuff.
Yeah, like I don't see what's wrong with using that as your main portfolio because okay, so when it comes to looking at portfolio, this is something that Ben Keeling told me when I was in second year, and he gave me some credit on it. He was like, okay, so this is how a recruiter is going to look at your portfolio. All right, so do you see the speed I'm going? It's literally just like, yeah, all right. They kind of know what they're doing. All right, yeah. Well, there's a bit of writing there. I read the first sentence. Like that's the speed they're going to go at. So you want to just be as easy as possible to get through. Like 2D stuff. Oh wow, this is from ages ago. I need to change that. But yeah, like that's probably a very important piece of information. It's just the speed that they're going to go through. Just make it as readable as possible. Make it as understandable as possible. They'll probably want to talk to you more about it later, so don't have masses of writing.
Is there no magic number for like amounts of pieces or amounts of screenshots per project? Or
Of course, there's no magic number. Everyone's different. Like if you just go on ArtStation and look at, I was on ArtStation just now actually, and there was someone whose work was amazing, but they only had 2 pieces on ArtStation. They would definitely get hired because they're capable and it looks great. And maybe if they were a bad person, they wouldn't get hired. But you know, like you can see that their work is good enough.
yeah.
They don't need 10 things to show that off. You can, you know, it's a very mute point. I think is probably the way to
In
think about
terms
it.
of the styles of work, I mean, something they've told us this year is that they're always like stressing how the industry is constantly changing and how like the mobile industry is becoming bigger and whether you don't want to do stylized or not, it might be important to include it in your portfolio. Is that something you recommend? A range of styles?
I kind of struggle with that a bit because the mobile industry is a bubble, and yes, there's a lot of work in the mobile industry, but I wouldn't say there's more work than in AAA. There's a lot of smaller teams, and to be honest, if you want to go in a particular direction, like if you're passionate about realistic art and like being able to critique someone's stylized work is difficult. Like for me, I couldn't say anything about some of your stylized work because I just like looked at it and went, "It's pretty." Yeah. Like, if that's how you are, or the opposite, then doing stylized work or doing realistic work that you don't really have any connection to and aren't gonna be like you don't really want to do,
Yeah.
just simply so that you have a fallback to maybe go work at a mobile company.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I'm not really sure that's a good way of doing it, but don't ignore the lecturers.
Yeah, I think just as like industry comes approaching and stuff like, just it comes more and more daunting, and I feel like maybe stylized stuff isn't for me, but maybe I might end up having to doing stylized work just to pay the rent. So
Yeah, maybe you will, but like art isn't kind of art is kind of, if you have the artistic eye and you're capable of doing the work, um, it will normally be okay. In terms of the should I have stylized work in there? If you're really worried, then and you have something that you've already done, then yeah, maybe put it in. But I wouldn't say spend time away from doing what you want to do
to
to
have
do
it, yeah.
to have something that you don't want to do just in case. It kind of feels like a bit counterintuitive because every minute you spend improving on the thing you want to do makes that possibility more likely.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
That's a solid point.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess, yeah.
like every minute you're spending sculpting characters rather than doing environments is a minute that you're learning something that's more valuable to you. And you know, don't don't be afraid of going full on in. Like, if you know, some people don't know, and that's completely fine as well. Because as I said before, I was just like, I like realistically looking things, and I want to work in a company which has got people above me that I can aspire to do as good as them. So I just focused on realism, but didn't really know where I wanted to go with it. And now I'm looking at more vehicles and weapons, and I wouldn't expect that like last year. So yeah, as I say, just kind of if you know, that's cool, and focus. Focus is good.
Cool. You said that you're working in environments and weapons now, and how you originally went in as an environment artist, now you're doing weapons and guns. Have you got any like long-term plans for the future, like within game art, that you might change?
Long-term plans.
Do you feel like maybe one day you might just, I don't know, decide you want to be a character artist and go down that route, or is it?
I try not to have long-term plans for that kind of stuff. When I went to Foundation, I was continuously told before that I would never be able to be an artist. At that point I was wanting to do illustration and stuff, but I went in going, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And had that mentality of the choice that I make, I can make the right choice, with the right choice. Like, with the way you act and the way you push things, you can make a decision, the right decision, because you can be pushing forwards all the time rather than going, oh, I should have made a different one back then. So I just went to Foundation and went, let's see what happens. Turns out I came on the course that I thought I was going to come on when I was 16, and things went pretty well. But, you know, I try not to go, well, I want to be here in 5 years, because I might along the way go, oh, there's this cool thing over here that I didn't realize I actually really loved. I'm going to do that instead. So I just kind of go with it, see what happens.
We've got like 5 minutes left. Anyone else got any questions? I felt like I've asked too many questions.
No, that was really good.
You've been asking the right questions, John.
Yeah.
That's the right question. What's your favourite merc on Dirty Bomb? Just completely irrelevant to game.
Oh, well, that's a difficult one.
Oh, first difficult question of the day.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's the wrong question, John.
Let's find them. So Proxy is probably the coolest.
Is that the medic one?
No, Proxy's this one.
I'm looking at the YouTube live stream again. I don't know why I'm doing it.
Why?
It's such a bad habit. I'm on the right one. Oh, yeah.
Proxy, she
Is that the
is
girl version
the
of Skyhammer?
bomb. What's that?
Is she like the female equivalent of Skyhammer? They're the same class, aren't they?
No, she's the engineer. Like, she's super quick, super nimble, can dodge jump everywhere, and you can throw mines at people's faces.
Their faces. I've just been using Skyhammer because I got a gold card, so I'm just using that gold card.
Cool.
Don't like using those red ones.
And then Phoenix is cool. The designs in this game are amazing. I was talking to Matt Hancock last night, who's an environment artist on Dirty Bomb at the moment. Apparently the weapon artist who's now leaving, when he was working on all the weapons and stuff, he'd get a concept which is stylized to Dirty Bomb style, which is very similar to Brink style, if you don't know.
It's the same people, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same art director who's now leaving for, I think. But anyway, he was just basically saying that the weapon artist would take the stylized concept and go full into it realistically. So he'd take a concept which is like block colors and like needs to look approximately like this, with kind of quite a bit of lack of shading, lack of detail. He would work it up into a super realistic looking weapon, and then in the process of taking it into the low poly and taking it back down into game ready stuff, it would get more and more stylized. I found that really cool, really interesting.
Yeah, so interesting workflow.
What's that?
An interesting workflow to go the super realism and then kind of style it down.
I guess it's like you get the lowest and the highest point, so you can find that sweet spot in between. If you know where, like, oh, that's super realistic. Dialing it back. I don't know.
Steel Milkshake asks, any advice for FMP? What you might want to change and do again? I think you might have to watch the stream again.
If I could do it again, I would probably find a concept and do that. I'm going to just say that. Just go on ArtStation, spend a few days on ArtStation, find a pretty picture and go, oh, I'm making that. Because, yeah, that will often yield some nice results.
I'm glad you've said that, because that was essentially my plan. I was hoping Josh McGowan was going to bring me a nice concept, so I was just...
Yeah.
And then Josh would just make a cool character and plonk it in the middle.
Yeah, the other thing is to know your abilities, break it down before you start into how you would actually achieve it, and maybe even just do a couple of test things just to see, like, the most difficult things. Are you going to be able to do it? Are you going to be able to achieve, like, for example here, this glass stuff, I found that really tough, doing that big office building glass. And had I done some experiments and spent some time working out how to do that before I started, I probably would have done a better job on it. So finding the most difficult thing and going, let's give it a go before you start your FMP might be a good way of doing it.
I think that's what a lot of us are trying to do with these projects at the moment. I know a lot of people are kind of like molding them around as like little quick 3-week mini FMPs to see. I want to do something like that. I want to do something like that.
Do you guys have any stuff that you want to crit on?
I think I already posted it.
Oh, dangerous question.
Everything burned down in my level. Someone left the barbecue.
Yeah, what was happening?
I was laughing at that so much when I saw that, John. That was a sneaky one. That was good. I like that.
Yeah, I don't think like Max got the joke, but the sprite wasn't actually growing. I was just joking because I have so many wooden props that.
Oh, I genuinely thought you couldn't get it to stop getting bigger.
No, Max
It's so funny. That was amazing. I like.
Can't be saying size over life. Like you can get it so that they change on a timescale, but if you look at the photo, I have like all these wooden crates and pallets next to a barbecue, and then the other on fire.
The last one was like, seriously, please, it's all on fire.
Yeah, it felt so good. I'm so sick of this project. It felt really good just to set it all on fire. It looked really cool as well. I might do a last minute screenshot where it's all on fire.
How are you sick of it already? You've only been doing it for 3 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks? That's one thing to bear in mind. Like, I don't know how, but me and Elliot weren't particularly sick. We were kind of ready to move on. But the FMP is 3 months, alright? You can't really stay rational near the end. And everyone was just like, this is the worst thing I've ever done. You know, so just be aware that it's 3 months long. It's a long time. It's a lot longer than 2 weeks, John.
No, a rooftop is a small thing, though. Like, it's it's really easy to get bored of rooftop because I've looked at so many rooftop pictures. They're all so boring. They're only cool when they're on fire. That's the only bit they look cool.
Okay.
Right. 6 o'clock. I mean, 5 o'clock.
What?
5 o'clock, yeah. About time.
6.
That's the hour. That's all you get, guys.
Yeah. If anyone has any work they wanted created, put it in the group. I'm sure Kit's been pretty good at giving people credit. We're very
I think it's heated up
that.
the last week. We've been
It's been pretty good, yeah. It's
pretty
been
rolling in. It's been
That's kind of what we wanted, and it's more and more
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I like the idea of Get Good being connected to your actual Facebook. I think that's one thing that we needed from Game Art Crit, because like 10,000 hours and stuff were pretty good for getting crit from people. But something that's related to DMU is quite nice, so that you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to like do anything different. You're on Facebook anyway, because let's be honest, everyone's always on Facebook.
Yep.
It's like the Muga in a group, I feel like, anyway.
Yeah, that's what the idea was.
It's
Yeah, that's kind of what I was meaning to say without explicitly saying that.
gone. Oh, it's nice that we got this. Kieran's stuff was nice. GZ Kieran, congrats for your sweet.
Oh, are we on Get Good right now?
I was just looking at Get Good. I was just looking at it as we were talking about it. Sorry, I'll.
Any last words, Crit? Kit, Crit.
Last words? Do stuff, make it cool.
Do stuff, make it cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty much my motto at uni. I was just like, let's do cool things. So,
I think that's how you keep it fun.
yeah, I think that's important as well. As you were saying, like earlier, was I finding it difficult doing 8 hours work or something? It's fun. Like even the fact that we could doing level of detail LODs for just ages and ages. You're still using 3D stuff, and you're still being like paid to make a game. So still cool.
Cool. Right, I guess we're done. Remember, Get Good. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Kit.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, cheers. Been good.
Really helped us out.
Hopefully the first of many.
Everyone's work.
Thanks to you as well, John, for running.
Fan/host.
Anytime, #1 fan.
Cheers, guys. Until next time.